A controversial question integral to the current state of affairs in the United States must be answered. Who commits more political violence, the left or the right? Of course it's the left, dummy. Watch my video and learn all about it. Chapter 1. Anti-ICE riots, targeted attacks, and attempted murder of federal law enforcement officers.
10 people are facing charges for their roles in the shooting of an Alvarado police officer at an ICE detention center.
Investigators say it was a coordinated attack that ended when two people fired at police and unarmed corrections officers.
Though somewhat rare in the early stages of a federal investigation, authorities have shared booking photos of nearly a dozen suspects, images of weapons, tactical gear, and graffiti they say were part of a violent planned ambush at the ICE detention facility in Alvarado. July 4th, around 10:30 at night, a disturbance outside the Prairieland ICE lockup appeared to lure unarmed correctional officers outside. 10 suspects, the feds say, were dressed in military black, donned body armor.
The attacker opened fire early this morning outside a Border Patrol annex in McAllen in what Fox is told was clearly a planned ambush. Border Patrol agents and local police returned fire, hitting and killing the shooter, who was armed with an assault rifle.
There were many dozens of rounds fired by the suspect towards the building and towards agents in that building.
Federal immigration agents escaped an arson attack at their office in Yakima, Washington. A cowardly rioter on August 2nd threw a rock through a window of the ICE field office and then started a small fire at the back of the building, DHS said in a statement.
Scenes in Portland overnight as fiery protests broke out in front of the ICE building there. DHS agents clearing out the demonstrators after they could be seen tossing smoke grenades and lighting off flares out on the street. The agents having to fire rubber bullets at several of those demonstrators as they continued to cause chaos.
There was also another attack on an ICE facility in Portland, Oregon Friday night, a facility that has been the site of an ongoing protest for several weeks.
We've seen this same sort of behavior at the New York City ICE facility. Migrant rioters just attacked a courthouse. Look at this.
Protesters block the courthouse doors as ICE agents attempt to remove a man they've detained inside. A man, we're told, who had just appeared for a routine immigration hearing. They force their way through the protesters and push the man they're detaining into a van. But the crowd moves with them, including several protesters who threw themselves on the hood of the moving van.
Animals.
As some agents climbed into vehicles, others walked from one courthouse to another with protesters following step for step.
Wow.
As agents reach the second building, another confrontation.
It's a brawl.
An agent throwing a man to the ground, and then a gray sedan pulls
Watch
up.
this. Look at this guy.
The crowd dispersed after that federal officer stepped out carrying what appears to be an assault rifle.
He's ready, man.
People are taking out here into the street. This could be another start of riots here on the streets of Minneapolis. Now that people are trying to block ICE from leaving this place, they're throwing garbages here onto the streets. They're not going to let the police leave here.
That's your city.
This is how the sheriff would work.
Chapter 2. Pro-Palestinian terrorist attacks.
Breaking news, the suspected arsonist who allegedly tried to attack Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro decided to firebomb the governor's mansion because of, quote, what he wants to do to the Palestinian people. That's according to a search warrant signed by Pennsylvania State Police. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News 38-year-old Cody Balmer targeted Shapiro, quote, based on perceived injustices to the people of Palestine. The cleanup process continues today at the mansion in Harrisburg following the attack early Sunday morning. Police say Balmer set fire to a dining area in the residence where Governor Josh Shapiro and his family had hosted a Passover Seder just hours earlier.
We're fucking done! A man with a homemade flamethrower and yelling "Free Palestine" sprayed the victims with fire and threw Molotov cocktails. The attack occurred as people with a pro-Israel volunteer group called Run for Their Lives were concluding their weekly demonstration in downtown Boulder. The suspect, identified as 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon, is being held in the Boulder County Jail. Solomon is an Egyptian national who entered the U.S. 2 years ago. Fox News reports he overstayed his visa, but was given permission to stay under the Biden administration and remained in the U.S. illegally after that extension expired in March. After the attack, the suspect can be heard yelling, "How many children have you killed?"
A group of people leaving a young diplomat's reception at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington when a gunman opened fire. 26-year-old Sarah Milgram and her partner, 30-year-old Yaron Lashinsky, both diplomatic staff at the Israeli embassy, were killed. Tonight, it's being investigated as a targeted terror attack. The alleged gunman, 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, shouted "Free Palestine" as he was taken into police custody.
Free Palestine! Chapter 3. Pro-trans terror group and mass shooters.
It's been 4 weeks since the side of a Vermont highway was lined with law enforcement. A traffic stop of Felix Buchholz, a German citizen, and Teresa Youngblood, an American student from Washington State, led to a shootout. Investigators allege that Youngblood opened fire without warning. Agents on scene fire back, and both Buchholz and Border Patrol agent David Chris Malin were killed. Youngblood was arrested on federal gun charges but has not been directly charged in Malin's death. According to court paperwork, investigators found multiple guns and ammunition, cell phones, laptops, and tactical gear in the car. According to Maryland court records, Zachko was arrested with a gun on Sunday and is currently facing several charges, including obstruction, resisting arrest, and trespassing. Also arrested in Maryland was Jack Lasota, who is facing similar charges. According to the AP, Lasota, originally from California, authored dark and violent blog posts under the name Ziz and quickly gathered a cult-like following.
Now, according to reporting by the Associated Press, the goals of the Zizians aren't clear, but online writings span topics from radical veganism and gender identity to artificial intelligence. Police and court records, media reports, and online postings point to this small group as not only intelligent, but increasingly violent, with footprints in several states. The dead include Agent Malin, 2 members of the group, the parents of Zachko, and a California landlord who tried to evict some of them.
Chapter 4. The assassination attempts on Donald Trump.
Really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Then we have the biggest act of political violence in the last 30 years, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. The first attempt. Leftists will try to make the case that Thomas Crooks was a MAGA Republican, despite footage of him swearing he would slit Republican throats and dozens of posts on Gab where he passionately argued for Joe Biden's policies. He had also donated to Act Blue. Crooks had registered as a Republican, but this was a common ploy at the time Democrats were openly advocating for, to vote against him in an attempt to stop Donald Trump in the primaries before the general election. Then we have the second attempt on Donald Trump's life, when Ryan Ruth, a pro-Ukrainian fanatic, tried assassinating Trump while Trump played a round of golf at Mar-a-Lago. The left tried to deflect, calling Ruth a MAGA extremist because he had voted for Trump in 2016. What the left cynically fails to mention is the fact that Ruth and Trump's interests have sharply diverged since then.
As far as joining the military, yes, if you have some military experience or know people with military experience, encouraging them to come and fight. We have units all over the place. So, there were some leadership issues initially, but we've got so many units available to us: Georgian, Crimean, Ukrainian, Territorial Defense, Foreign Legion. We have, so many paramilitary groups. I put a 74-year-old Japanese guy in a unit. So, we have girls in units. So we have two girls that are in the unit up the street. So any gender, any age, any skill level to no skill level. But yeah, if you want to fight, come here and see me, and I'll put you in a unit so you can go fight.
Chapter 5. The Black Lives Matter riots of 2020. Black Lives Matter riots of late 2020 will go down in history as one of the most destructive series of civil disturbances in American history. Many Americans were murdered and assaulted. Some police officers died, while hundreds were injured. Over 140 American cities saw extreme violence, with arson, looting, and shootings terrifying citizens throughout the night. Law and order broke down. All the while, the Democrats set up bail funds for the rioters and openly encouraged the violence. They went on TV night after night, repeating their propaganda talking points, which the mainstream media parroted to the word. Leftists ran amok, openly flouting the law. Cities such as Washington, D.C., Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Los Angeles, California, New York saw heinous amounts of rioting, among many others. Billions of dollars worth of property was burned down. Millions upon millions of dollars worth of property was looted. Entire neighborhoods were taken over by leftist mobs. People were assaulted, harassed, and singled out for racist attacks because of the color of their skin. Reporters said the quote-unquote protests were mostly peaceful, as buildings burned in the foreground. It was directed from the higher-ups and various media companies to nix the word riot for the words protest. It was a terrible time in America as the left cynically encouraged their street thugs to burn, pillage, and loot across the country. U.S. Department of Justice under Joe Biden. Press release. Over 300 people facing federal charges for crimes committed during nationwide demonstrations. Thursday, September 24th, 2020. The Department of Justice announced today that more than 300 individuals in 29 states and Washington, D.C. have been charged for crimes committed adjacent to or under the guise of peaceful demonstrations since the end of May. To date, of the 94 U.S. Attorney's Offices, USAOs, more than 40 USAOs have filed federal charges alleging crimes ranging from attempted murder, assaulting a law enforcement officer, arson, burglary of a federally licensed firearms dealer, damaging federal property, malicious destruction of property using fire or explosives, felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition, unlawful possession of a destructive device, inciting a riot, felony civil disorder, and others. Violent opportunists have exploited these demonstrations in various ways. The Guardian. At least 25 Americans were killed during protests and political unrest in 2020. October 31st, 2020, at least 25 Americans were killed during protests and political unrest in 2020.
Also last night, the brave men and women of the United States Secret Service were assaulted by criminals. They threw rocks, they threw urine, and they threw alcohol at our officers. And in several instances, our officers incurred injuries, to include broken bones.
Wow, this is amazing. I could not find any news reporting clips about this. At least 50 Secret Service agents injured by rioters. Rioters threw Molotov cocktails and bottles at agents to set buildings on fire. At least 50 Secret Service agents were injured during weekend protests over the death of George Floyd. Some agents were injured by throwing bottles and Molotov cocktails as they assisted U.S. Marshals and Drug Enforcement Administration agents in monitoring the protest, Fox News reports. The National Guard was being called in to help with the response to protests outside the White House and elsewhere in the Capitol. The parish house connected to the historic St. John's Episcopal Church was set on fire late Sunday. The basement was also burned. The New York Daily News reports. Defense Department officials told Fox News the National Guard was being called in to respond to protests outside the White House. Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser said she had requested the Guardsmen to assist local law enforcement.
Secret Service said more than 60 officers and agents were hurt. The National Park Service said 65 park police officers were injured. And during the first week or so, May 29th to June 7th, MPD confirmed 21 injuries. Meanwhile, the National Guard Bureau tells us that 8 guardsmen were injured, including 2 who were struck by lightning. In Arlington County Police told us that 1 Arlington officer suffered a concussion and several others suffered bruises and abrasions. So add it all up, that's at least 155 officers and agents so far. And that's just the agencies who responded to our questions. So we could verify, yes, at least 150 officers in D.C. were injured during that first week or so of demonstrations in the district.
Chapter 6. The intimidation campaign against Elon Musk for opening Twitter up to free speech, and the campaign against Tesla for Musk's involvement with Doge.
Really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of this country.
Time to cancel all the contracts and reassess his immigration status and hopefully deport him the hell out of the country. And if we can't do that by conventional means, President Biden, you have presidential immunity. Get Elon Musk the F out of our country and do it now.
He has broken the law time and time again. This cannot stand. He must be held accountable. He must be... Yeah! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up!
So we're at 400 Massachusetts Avenue Northwest, and this is what we see in a government advertising box. We don't know if the government allowed this or an individual, but targeting individuals, hopefully only using USAID's logo. It better not be funded by them or endorsed by them. The president is asking serious questions about where taxpayer dollars are going and whether or not it's the best and highest use. I, for one, think that Elon Musk and President Trump are doing right by the American taxpayers asking those questions. This is what's wrong with the process.
Local and federal investigations are underway right now after someone tried to set a Tesla dealership in Loveland on fire overnight. Loveland police tell us this happened at the dealership on North Lincoln Avenue, and they say several vehicles at the dealership were also vandalized with offensive and hateful graffiti. So similar vandalisms were reported at the same Tesla dealership twice in the last 2 weeks. The FBI and the ATF are also investigating.
Is accused of starting a fire at a Salem Tesla dealership. It happened at about 3:45 this morning at the dealership on Mission Street Southeast in Salem. Crews were called to a car fire there. As you can see, there was a car on fire. Salem police say the fire was limited to that one car, and a window panel on the building was broken as well. No one was hurt. This is being investigated as an arson case. Anyone with information about it is asked to contact Salem police.
Are receiving threats to sell their vehicles by today or else they'll be vandalized. Police in Humboldt County say several people found the threatening notes on their cars, including at least one that came with a brick. The group behind the threats calls itself Students Against Nazi Extremism and mailed a manifesto to the Lost Coast Outpost. It claimed responsibility for the brick as well as threatening Tesla owners in Rohnert Park, Hayward, and Seaside in Monterey County.
Tesla just leased this parking lot and brought a lot of Tesla trucks. They started bringing 3 days ago, but look what happened. They vandalized all the cars, all the Tesla trucks. This parking lot has been empty for years. Tesla just leased, and someone did this.
I want to personally kill Elon Musk. Elon Musk needs to be assassinated as soon as possible and his shitty body left to rot. He's a waste of a human being and an embarrassment in his entirety. Somebody kill Elon Musk. I'm bored of dunking on him. Can somebody please just shoot Elon Musk already? I want to shoot Elon Musk. Finally, with real freedom of speech, I can say I think someone should shoot Elon Musk in the face immediately with a sniper rifle, killing him within an instant. If I had a gun, I would shoot Elon Musk in the face. I want to shoot Elon Musk with a high-powered rifle. I'm going to shoot Elon Musk in the head with a harpoon gun. I'd give anything to be the one that gets to shoot Elon Musk in his fucking looking head. Getting this in before I can't, I'm going to shoot Elon Musk. Shoot Elon Musk like a lame horse. Someone should shoot Elon Musk in the head already. I'd like to shoot Elon Musk at point-blank range. So, who is trying to kill Elon Musk before tomorrow? Can someone kill Elon Musk already? Can someone kill Elon Musk? We need him gone. Let's kill Elon Musk. I think it would be funny if somebody tried to kill Elon Musk. How hard would it be to kill Elon Musk? It's crazy how nobody's thought just to kill Elon Musk yet. Somebody kill Elon Musk. No, I think we should kill Elon Musk, though. Kill Elon Musk. I will kill Elon Musk in Christmas. This is not a joke. We should kill Elon Musk. I'm going to kill Elon Musk. I want to kill Elon Musk. I love freedom of speech. I want to kill Elon Musk. Let's kill Elon Musk. Kill Elon Musk. Can someone just kill Elon Musk at this point? Kill Elon Musk now. Chapter 7, Antifa Terror Campaigns. Chris Carr, the Republican Attorney General of Georgia, announced on Tuesday the indictment of 61 individuals allegedly involved in Antifa efforts to prevent the construction of a police training facility outside of Atlanta. These activists, most of whom don't live in Georgia, are accused of violating the Racketeer Influenced Corrupt Organization Act, a state law that allows for the criminal prosecution of organized crime. Of the 61 defendants, some faced additional charges of domestic terrorism, attempted arson, and money laundering. Carr said in a press release his office is primarily concerned with prosecuting violent acts in the state's case. As for this indictment shows, looking the other way when violence occurs is not an option in Georgia, said Carr. If you come to our state and shoot a police officer, throw Molotov cocktails at law enforcement, set fire to police vehicles, damage construction equipment, vandalize private homes and businesses, and terrorize their occupants, you can and will be held accountable. The indictment focuses on Defend the Atlanta Forest, an environmental group described by Attorney General's office as an anarchist, anti-police, and anti-business extremist organization. The indictment says the group's purpose is to occupy of parts or all of 381 forested acres in DeKalb County, Georgia, land that is owned by the Atlanta Police Foundation and is leased by the Atlanta government. By doing this, they would halt the construction of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. The Defend the Atlanta Forest movement started in organizing in 2020 following the police murders of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta. Both incidents occurred months before the training center was announced. The Cop City Vote Coalition, which is trying to force a public vote in the public center, objected to the recent indictment. The group of organizers condemned the quote-unquote blatantly authoritarian RICO charges brought forward by Carr following his announcement. The indictment alleges a total of 225 overt acts took place in the city from July 5th, 2020 to about 2 weeks ago. Instances of the reported violence during that time included throwing rocks, bricks, and Molotov cocktails at police vehicles, vandalizing private property, attacking private citizens and utility workers, and shooting state troopers. Police responded to the criminal actions by arresting protesters, and in one case, killed an Antifa member who shot at the cops. We will not waver when it comes to keeping people safe, enforcing the rule of law, and ensuring those that engage in criminal activity are vigorously pursued and aggressively prosecuted, Carr said. Notably, the case was filed in Fulton County last week in the same jurisdiction that District Attorney Fannie Willis filed a RICO indictment against former President Donald Trump on August 14th. Trump currently faces charges related to claims about the 2020 election fraud, per his fourth indictment.
The city assets that are still under their care, and to be able to move quickly to start enforcing the law with our partners. And what you see here, ladies and gentlemen, is as some of the individuals that had just previously attacked the worksite return back into the woods, they start changing back into the clothes that they were just wearing moments before as they were portraying themselves to be attendees of the event that was occurring in the music. So it's clear today that we saw a repeat of what we've seen in the past, where events that are shown to be peaceful and to be being publicized as be peaceful are being used by individuals as cover to launch illegal and criminal attacks, in this case attacking officers.
Damn, dude, look at that cop car!
Chapter 8, Cute Winter Boots.
I just want to make sure everyone has some cute-ass winter boots in their life. Do you need cute winter boots? If you're in need, I got you. I'm going to be posting a video for each state so you guys can figure out with each other.
Cute winter boots is codes for firearm and insurrection. It's what the left is doing right now, talking about get yourself a pair of cute winter boots. Winter is coming, it's getting awful cold, don't slip on the ice. ICE is a reference to deportation police. So basically the left is using code to say, we don't like the Trump administration. We do not like the executive orders that are coming in. We do not like the mass deportations. So we are going to stockpile firearms and we are going to use them against people to commit crimes.
We have a right to overthrow the government. I don't think they understand that.
Remember the Cute Winter Boots campaign on TikTok, where the leftists openly declared war on the United States? I do. I remember laughing at these demons. I mean, look at them. They don't look like much, but with a head full of craziness and hatred and self-loathing, and a life completely pointless and empty, they can cause chaos. These people are literally insane. They all have that look. A bunch of weirdos and losers. Violent weirdos and losers. And look at that one's eyes. She definitely has that crazy leftist gaze. Every picture is a leftist who posted on TikTok using the hashtag #CuteWinterBoots in an attempt to publicize their dedication to insurrection and rebellion, betrayal and terrorism, murder and assassination. Chapter 9, Democrats openly call for violence.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I mean, I know somebody's gonna do it, but can it be done today? Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain.
We need somebody to do it. A good individual. Good. Prideful. We need somebody to do it. Somebody.
America has the chance to do the funniest thing ever. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. If someone could just be poetic, wouldn't it? That would be so
Hey, since it's America's birthday, I think the president should get a gift. You know, something that'll really blow his mind. Something unprecedented. You know?
I hear they're holding a ceremony so that he can sign this big, beautiful bill into law. Do you think it's going to be outside? No, they wouldn't. But, like, on the 4th of July, it'd be a cool time to do it. If anyone's, like, on the fence, we would support you. 100%. That'd be real nice.
Chapter 10. What does AI say about who commits more political violence, the right or the left? My initial question, August 13th, 2025, 8:27 a.m. Me. Who has committed more political violence in the last 8 years, the left or the right? Grok's response. I provided an evidence-based answer, citing sources like the CSIS, 66% of 2022 terrorist attacks right-wing, ADL, all 2022 extremist murders right-wing, and Reuters, 13 of 14 fatal political attacks right-wing. I noted key right-wing incidents, January 6th Capitol attack, 7 deaths, Pittsburgh synagogue, 11, El Paso, 23, and left-wing incidents. 2020 Portland shooting, Tacoma ICE attack, concluding that right-wing violence was more lethal, 130 deaths since 9/11 versus 1 left-wing per FBI. Left-wing violence, 2020 riots caused more property damage, 1 to 2 billion, but fewer deaths. Okay? I challenge Grok on the fact that organizations like the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center count non-ideological motivated murders. In other words, murders committed outside of any extremist context by extremists, or those murders committed by white prison gangs. I made the point that when a white guy with extremist ties murders his mother or a friend, for instance, and the ADL counts that as an act of right-wing murder. This is erroneous, obviously. The same goes for white prison gang murders, with over 95% being inter-gang related, meaning they are primarily murdering their own members. These two types of murders make up a large proportion of the ADL or the SPLC's total tally. I told Grok to subtract them from the 130 murders counted as right-wing in nature since 2001. This left a much reduced number of verifiable murders committed in the name of right-wing ideology, 44 to be exact. I then corrected Grok on the number of left-wing murders that Grok hadn't counted, such as the deaths from the BLM riots, attacks on Jews, police officer assassinations, etc., etc. Grok revised the number of verifiable left-wing murders to 55. And this was final conclusion. Let's see. Now, what is your conclusion? Who has committed more political violence, the left or the right? Consider everything we've gone over. Answer. Given the comprehensive analysis we've conducted based on the verified data and your insights, here the conclusion regarding who has committed more political violence measured by deaths from 2015 to 2025, considering everything we've gone over. Final conclusion. Their verified tally confirms 55 deaths from left-wing violence, surpassing 44 right-wing ideological deaths. The left-wing total includes 37 deaths from the 2020 George Floyd riots and 18 from targeted attacks. Capitol Jewish Museum, 2 Boulder attack, 1 Tacoma ICE attack, 1 Butler Trump attempt, 1 Vermont Border Patrol, another one, Zizian murders, 1 3 Seattle murder, 1 Dallas police ambush, 5 Baton Rouge police ambush, 3 Separately, the societal impact of left-wing violence includes murder surges in cities like Minneapolis, up 75%, Chicago, up 25%, and Atlanta, up 59% due to hands-off policing post-2020 protests. Hundreds of injured police officers, $1.2 billion in property damage from riots and anti-ICE riots, and terror campaigns against Elon Musk and Tesla. Therefore, based on the death toll alone, the left has committed more political violence over this period. What's next? Yeah. Wait a second. I noted key right-wing incidents, January 6th Capitol attack, 7 deaths. Ha ha ha, Grok almost got me. Grok said there was 7 right-wing related deaths from January 6th. We'll have to clarify that. Did you count 7 deaths from January 6th in that 44 right-wing related death count? Answer, no. The 44 right-wing related death that we've tallied do not include 7 deaths from January 6th. The January 6th Capitol riot deaths, often cited as 5 immediate fatalities, blah, 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 with 4 additional officers who total 9 according to some company. This figure is debated. In our discussion, I included only specific ideologically driven right-wing incidents. Pittsburgh, synagogue, Buffalo supermarket, Charlottesville, El Paso. And I said, okay, good, because we've gone over that. There were only 2 directly related deaths from January 6th, and them were 2 Trump supporters. Grok says, you're right, and I appreciate you bringing that up to clarify our prior discussion. We've indeed gone over the January 6th Capitol riot deaths, and you've specified that only 2 were directly related, both Trump supporters. Based on our earlier exchanges and the data we've reviewed, this aligns with the refined count excluding the broader, less ideologically clear fatalities, natural causes, overdoses, offers, suicides. The 44 right-wing ideological deaths we settled on did not include these January 6th deaths, focusing instead on targeted incidents like Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Charlottesville, and El Paso. Let's confirm the tally and ensure it reflects this understanding, keeping everything we've covered in mind. Blah, 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 blah. Yep. Same conclusion. Take a screenshot of that if you need to, folks.